Good morning, Yankees Nation, and welcome to The Ugly Truth. This is my first live stream, and I want to thank Jonathan for coming on and all of y'all for being here to support. Some of the things that I'd like to talk about today, uh, this is probably going to be a reasonably short 30 to 45-minute session, but the things I'd like to talk about are the injuries that we've seen, some of the positives that are coming out of spring training thus far, and any current concerns that we have. Plus, I'd like to know what y'all think about the ABS system that's being used this spring training. All right, Jonathan.
Well, thank you for doing this first live stream. Yeah, I think I understand the ABS system. I mean, they want to get more accurate measures. I mean, look, if we had a system like this today, we may have not won the '96 World Series with the Derek. You remember the Derek Jeter basket catch by and the other thing is, if you remember, the Marlins probably wouldn't have made the World Series in 2003. The Cubs, we would probably play the Cubs.
Yeah.
So, look, there are benefits to all these changes, and I understand the fact that they want to speed up the game, but at the same time, the problem I have with speeding up the game is it can take away from the fan experience of just going to the stadium. You buy a ticket, you spend $200 on the ticket, depending on the stadium, and you're only there for 2.5 hours, sometimes 2 hours. Going to a stadium is more about just seeing a baseball game. It's about walking around the stadium and experiencing a different location to watch baseball. I mean, for me, I've been to San Francisco, I've been to the Dodgers Stadium, Phillies, and Baltimore. And all those stadiums, the one thing I like about those stadiums compared to Yankee Stadium, and I think Yankee Stadium needs to change this from my point of view, is they pump so much noise during the game that it takes away from the fan experience when you have so much artificial noise just bouncing around all the time. Why don't you just talk with each other between innings instead of listening to noise or having the loudspeaker pump you up? If you want to get pumped up, get some excitement into the ball game. Get a big hit. You know, enjoy baseball rather than having it done for you from background.
Well, I will tell you my experiences going to parks. The worst park for me is Dodger Stadium. They have those Death Star speakers that when they're pumping music through there, it's like blowing your ears out. It's very difficult to enjoy the game, at least for me.
Well, I only
Welcome,
went to one game.
welcome, Sean.
Hey,
Thanks for
I,
thanks for coming on.
yeah, thank you for and congratulations on the new channel.
Most appreciated.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know if you heard the first thing that we're talking about. It's the ABS system.
yeah, I heard about that, and like we were talking on Ace channel yesterday, it's so far smooth, and I like this hybrid system where the players can challenge, and it can be quickly whatever litigated, rather than having a straight robo, which what a lot of people were calling for, robots behind the plate. I'd rather have some of that human element with the limited challenges, so that it's not like every call gets challenged. You know, and so far, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like what 40 seconds to get it overturned, or I mean, to get a final answer from New York or wherever they do it.
They have been using the ABS system in the International League for a few years now here in Virginia Beach. The Tidewater Tides, the farm club of the Baltimore Orioles, is 15 minutes from my house. And I catch a lot of games.
Yeah.
What they do is they run 6-game sets, and for the first 3 games, they're hybrid, like what we're having here in spring training. And then the last 3 games, they do fully automated robot umpiring behind the plate. From the fans' perspective here, and some of the players that I've talked to, they like the ability to challenge calls, but the robo ump completely is not very popular. I don't think they've got the mechanics and everything down for people's strike zones. Before we go any further, I'd like to give a shout out to the folks here. Obviously, Jonathan, John the Beagle Dad, Stephen B., Sean Browning, of course, and Grammy, who just popped in. So welcome and thank you for the support. I appreciate y'all being here. All right. Jonathan, what do you think about the injuries in the since spring training started, and how do you feel they're going to impact the squad going forward?
I'm not. I think I have a feeling that the pitchers have been. I don't know. Maybe they've been throwing too hard too early instead of building up their arms. I have no idea why more arms injuries have been pumping up in the last 10 years. Well, I have an idea, but it's possible that in order to, pitchers might have to change their approach. Instead of throwing as hard as they can, as often as they can, they might have to move to slower, more controlled pitches. For example, like what Greg Maddux used to do. Greg Maddux never threw over 92 miles an hour. He had perfect control, and he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. You need to teach pitchers to throw more like Greg Maddux than like Aroldis Chapman. That's the only way long term you're gonna protect the arms of the pitchers. Because if every pitcher throws 100 miles an hour all the time with every pitch, you're just going to end up injured more.
Yeah.
And now I'm not saying everybody can be Greg Maddux, but I'm saying people can try to learn to have better control with their pitches.
Yeah, but that actually lengthens their careers. I mean, you look at David Cone. He became more of a crafty. He wasn't quite Greg Maddux, but he had that crafty style. Didn't throw as hard, but he knew how to get people out, induce ground balls when he needed, and then there's other players that pitchers their career was lengthened when they learned how to be more crafty than just relying on being a power pitcher like Clemens or Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, and that's probably something they need to learn on earlier in their career, not when they get towards the late stages of their career. I mean, if you even look at Mariano Rivera, when he was first pitching as a starter, he was getting up to 96, 95, 96, and then towards the late years of career, he was pitching 92 to 93 with perfect control. So that's what pitchers need to learn, the control more than the speed. And the teams need to incentivize the pitchers with better control and not just the pitchers that can throw hard.
Well, the one sure thing in baseball life, a player's career is short, and Father Time catches up with everybody. You're not going to throw an 18-year career being able to huff up 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. So there are adjustments, and some people have made transitions very well, like CC Sabathia, Andy Pettit, and the list goes on. I mean, Schmaltz and Glavine from the old Braves when they were running championships. Those guys adjusted their pitching styles completely from when they first came up.
I think Randy Johnson was still pitching hard at 35 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was a freak of nature too, just like Nolan Ryan.
I mean,
a tall guy with
yeah.
a half arm length, and when
Well,
when it came to the Yankees, his second year, he had the worst year of his career.
Yeah. I mean, the dude was what, 6'9", 6'10",
6'10",
and when his arm was high up, it was like a 7-footer.
yeah.
Like
And
Shaq.
I still remember the video of him killing the bird.
Right.
A few people have bounced in, and I want to give them a shout out. Ray Klickner, Inefi from the Strike Zone. I appreciate y'all being here and your support. How do you feel about the reports that we have about Luis Gil's injury with the strained labrum?
Well, it's almost like it's kind of weird how he did it, but I mean, they're trying to be transparent, but then they're kind of like they're not giving a clear timeline. And like I said yesterday, when Ace was asking about it on his channel during the live stream during the game, don't rush him back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great pitcher, but if you try to rush him back from a shoulder, injury, you're going to risk nagging that, and it's going to have other issues.
Yeah, I actually was told at least 8 weeks, of course. But the good thing is when the pitchers have some sort of problem bothering them, they're not working through it. They're actually getting ahead of it. And as a result, it can, instead of being out 3 months, if he's out 8 weeks or 6 weeks, that's better for your team long term. I mean, you need to, when there's an injury, you need to get ahead of the injury. You can't work through the injury or else you'll prolong the injury. Anyway, I have to get going. I told you I had a limited time today, but thank you again for having me, and we'll do it again another time.
I appreciate your support, Jonathan. Thanks for coming up. Have a great day. So, who do you think, Sean, steps up to the plate and takes Hill's spot?
Well, because a lot of money for Stroman, I think they're going to end up giving him that fifth starter. But the wild card, I would say, is either Will Warren or Carrasco. I mean, we haven't seen much of Carrasco, and he might be more of a long relief guy option for us. But if Stroman continues to struggle, I could see those two going. But I also think that Schmidt is actually going to have, when he stops having his back issues, I think Schmidt's going to actually step up as far as helping with the workload with Big Three. I think he's going to have a pretty decent, because Hill carried a lot last year. So it wasn't just, he was Rookie of the Year.
Well,
and in contention.
If you remember, Hill didn't even make the initial roster leaving Tampa. He got his opportunity when Garrett Cole went down. They brought him back, reconsidered him, and they actually won the job. So this presents an opportunity for some of these pitchers that have been drafted, tons of them over the last 2 years. One of the people that has gone down to minor league camp that I thought was very impressive was Cam Schlittler.
Mm-hmm.
The outings that he's had, he's looked very, very good. Will Warren has been damn near perfect. Carrasco actually pitched last night in the game, and he had a 3-up, 3-down inning and looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think Warren is probably right there at the cusp of breaking in and staying long term in the majors. I mean, last year he was up for a cup of tea, but you could see like one game he'd have it, and then the next game he gets shelled. He just wasn't quite ready.
Well, for Warren last year, he had several no notification. You're the starter today, so he didn't
Yeah,
really have prep time, and he did well one day. The next day he gets hammered. So
yeah. No, and I mean, I'm giving him credit for showing up and helping out and stepping up. But
all
it's
right,
like,
anybody who feels like it, pop on the link, get backstage, and we'll bring you up too. Want to hear from everybody. Don't be shy. Go ahead, Sean.
yes, we do. Don't be shy, y'all. But how do you feel about the Giancarlo? You think they're gonna let him nurse back to full health before they bring him back, like half season?
I tell you what, the Yankees organization as a whole really aggravate the hell out of me because they don't tell the truth when it comes to player injuries. They side skirt things. The PRP injections for Stanton indicate that there's no major damage to his elbows, but they won't come out and say it. Are they trying to put a Band-Aid on a real wound? Can we survive without Big G? I think it'll be hard. We were damn near plus 30 games with him in the lineup last year during the regular season and below 500 when he wasn't there. So that's a big concern for me. Although the construction of this year's squad is completely different. For me, last year it was home run or bust. I can't think how many times I was calling live streams with NFE that we had bases loaded or runners at second and third with one or no outs and couldn't push a single dadgum run across.
Oh yeah.
Our situational hitting was beyond horrible, and we were the king of double plays. We hit into damn near 3 to 5 double plays a game. Some of that is dealing with older players like Giancarlo Stanton, who hits the ball hard and damn sure doesn't run well.
Right.
But this spring training, obviously Soto left, and our focus on the team shifted significantly. The Yankees are not a Bash Brothers team anymore, not with the players that we have. We have 2, maybe 3 players that are going to give you, well, you're going to have one that hopefully gives you 50 plus home runs.
Right.
Well, that are going to 2 to 3 that are going to give you close to 30, and a few more that have the potential to reach double digits, 10 to 20 dingers.
Right.
What I've seen in spring training thus far is we were starting to use the speed element that is been available to our team with the players that we've brought up and brought in. Gas Chisholm, very exciting on the base paths. Anthony Volpe, I believe, has more in his tank than has been shown during his major league career. Duke Ellis is probably the fastest runner in the major leagues. Jason Dominguez, he has got speed to him, and Wells isn't exactly slow. You look at Goldschmidt, at his age, he stole 11 bases last year. So we have the potential to run. But the thing that makes me extremely happy is the situational hitting seems to have turned around completely.
Oh yeah. It's like more putting the ball in play, hit and run style, and capitalizing on it, and a lot of that is Cody Bellinger and Goldschmidt. They bring that element as cracked, veterans. They hit the ball all around the field. They're all around players. They've been that way their whole career. They do have some pop, but they're not like Judge or Stanton, gonna hit you a home run every 9 at bats. So yeah, but that brings that element, and then the Volpe and Jazz, they have this knack when they're on the base pass together. They just do the double steals. I don't know how much of that is Boone calling it, but I noticed different other players. They do a lot of the double steals and they put on hitting motions, and I'm like, man, I missed that.
Well, their game has become more exciting. It's not static, waiting for somebody to take the big swing. We haven't been truly competitive in the World Series or the postseason till last year.
Right.
And even last year, our big moments were home runs. It wasn't playing small ball scoring. We scored 11 runs last night, and a lot of them were off of. A lot of the runs were scored with runners in scoring position and base hits. We're advancing the runner, doing the small ball things that I like seeing.
I remember the dynasty under Torrey and Zimmer. You know, that was majority of what we did was small ball, hit and run, strategic fundamentals. You know.
Also had the strength of the rotation and solid bullpen arms. And with the addition of Max Fried, his debut last night, I thought was impressive. Although the kid gave up a 3-run dinger with two of his guys on, he got tagged for those guys. But all in all, his first outing, it looked like he was throwing his entire repertoire of pitches. Plus, the Pirates have seen him for years because he was in the same division, and at one point the team was facing each other 19 times a season. So it's not like there was a lot of secrets on what Fried was going to bring. But all in all, solid outing for an opener, and I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and I mean Fried is our 1B. You know, he's more of a number 2 pitcher traditionally, but he has that ace stuff. He can be the ace. You know, when we didn't really have that as long as Cole's been here. You know, Rodon was supposed to be the number 2. We paid him like a number 2, but he's more of a number 3.
Yep. He is. Rodon's first season in the Bronx was horrible. It was injury plagued. Never had a chance. Hell, he was getting booed by fans every time he stepped on the mound, damn near. Last year, he did account for 16 wins.
Right.
He had a slot where he was not very good, couldn't make it out of the third inning, and gave up at least 8 runs in 3 or 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
This year, you can tell that he's working on pitch types and pitch locations. So he hasn't been overpowering, but I think once he gets into the regular season, his stuff is going to interpret very well.
Yeah, and if he uses that changeup more, which he's developed the last couple of years, because I mean before that he was a 2-pitch pitcher. Was it a fastball or a curveball? You know.
The pitcher that was just straight horrible was Marcus Stroman. All right, we have. All right. His pitches were slow, up in the strike zone, and it really seemed like the Atlanta Braves were having a batting practice session.
Yeah.
CT, are you ready?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing all
Thanks
right.
for coming up.
CT?
Hey, one thing I did want to say, I think we're good. I think we're good with. I think we're good with Stroh right now. I think we're good because his first half.
Well,
Yeah,
Would you
his
say
first half
use
is going to be good. So his
use them
second
for the
half is questionable.
yeah? So you want to use them for the first half and then send him packing when Hill comes back?
Yeah, trade him at the deadline.
And manage
So
his innings where he doesn't get 140 innings.
is there truly a need for us to bring in another third baseman based off of what you guys are seeing here in spring training?
Ken, that's a good point. I agree, Ken. I don't think we should bring anybody in for third base. I think right now we're good.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Yankees shot themselves in the foot with Peraza because they exercised all his options. He's showing up like he did a couple years ago when him and Volpe were battling up for the shortstop position. I'd give it to Peraza. We need to focus on getting shoring up that DH spot or in our bench. That's what we need to really focus on, shoring up that bench and DH. Because with Stanton out long term, for about half the season, I know we'll be rotating with Judge, Goldie, and whoever else needs a day off that's older. But give it to the kid. Let him play it out because DJ shouldn't even smell the grass on the field. Just let him sit out the year.
DJ took the calf muscle strain after his first at bat. I think that's probably going to show you what you need to know. He was once a great ball player and a spectacular hitter, but his day has passed, and he couldn't make it even straight in DH. One of the people that I have been very impressed with, and he drove in. He had 4 RBIs last night. Was Dominic Smith. That guy has a solid approach at the plate, and he's capable of hitting bombs and line drives. Hell, he had a broken bat 2-run single last night. But if you look at the options out there, a lot of Yankee fans are calling and wanting us to bring JD Martinez into the fold to be our DH. Well, if you dig into JD's numbers last year, his stats are about the same as Verdugo's. So, do you want to put a Verdugo type hitter in at DH and spend $8 million to do it?
JD Martinez is washed. I mean, you've seen him the last couple of times. He could barely stay with one club the last couple of seasons. That's
Martinez is definitely not the solution in my mind to come in and be a DH. Somebody that I would like to bring the Yankees to bring in is as an option off the bench is Jose Iglesias. He is a versatile player. He was in 85 games last season. He hit 337. He is a plus caliber glove. I don't think he's an everyday player anymore. But if you look at the construction of our bench over the last few years, we've got a bunch of guys that play defense, and not a damn one of them can hit. When you need a pinch hitter, you bring in a guy who's hitting under the Mendoza line, and what are you expecting? That he's going to park one out in the stands?
Maybe
not realistic.
Higgy did it. But Higgy was actually more serviceable with the bat. He wasn't great consistently, but he was serviceable offensively, and he was, decent catcher who could, And right now we got a question mark for who our backup catcher is going to be. And Iglesias would help with our infield and outfield because Cabrera's our super utility. He can play every position. I think he hasn't catch, but he could be an emergency catcher. But then having Iglesias, that would help too, because I mean Trent Grisham's our fourth outfielder, but we don't know who we're gonna get. Ben Rice.
Well, have you watched any of the games this spring training? Have you seen Ben Rice as a catcher?
I watched a couple of them, but it's been kind of hard to get them where I'm at in Florida, to where I can sit there and live, and then the screens weren't always helping out. I just had to rely on play-by-play or highlights.
Rice hasn't looked impressive as a catcher. I could see him being an emergency catcher, but his fate is going to lie at first base. Because I don't think there's any chance in hell that they're going to put him behind the dish.
But I mean, Escara and Jackson are our two other options for backup catcher.
Jackson came out, or Escara came out last night and drove in a run. He took several innings and looked really good. He's got a lot of pop in his bat. My gut tells me that Alex Jackson probably has the position right now, and it's his to give away. But personal opinion, I'd look outside. I would bring a catcher like James McCann in.
That's good, Ken. I like that. Ken.
McCann is looking for a 1 year, $1 to $1.5 million deal. He knows he's a backup catcher. He was with the Orioles last year, so he has postseason experience with them. And he was a mentor to Ashley Rutschman, one of the premier catchers. So you don't think that Austin Wells could use some mentorship from a veteran catcher?
Well,
100%. I agree.
Actually, I think that would be the best. I mean, look at when Jorge Posada came up, right? It was his first or second year when he would platoon with Girardi, and then he took the starting role from Girardi, but Girardi was mentoring him, and then we had, John Flaherty, and we had other veterans that come back up for him.
That's what I'm thinking that you need as far as a backup catcher, is a veteran guy who can go out and catch 1 or 2 times a week and supports the younger catcher, telling him where he needs to make improvements, pop time, holding runners, calling pitches. Can's got 8 years behind the dish calling starters from the Detroit organization. So
yeah, and
that's something.
But then also the bench coach, wasn't Osmus a former catcher?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think Osmus was in the Houston organization.
But I think that would work double, because also the other thing with Posada that helped him out was Joe Torre was a catcher his whole career when he played.
You look at Gary Sanchez though.
Yeah.
He had Girardi, Tony Pena out of the Pirates organization, probably one of the best catchers on the planet. Next to Rodriguez, and they couldn't help him. So sometimes the player's skill set is just limited. You can't.
That or they just don't listen. I think Gary's problem was he didn't listen.
I think that some oversight for Wells would be a good thing.
Yeah,
I agree.
No, and I totally agree. I mean, and then not to mention you also had Yogi would come in and he'd mentor a lot of the Yankees in that dynasty year. After the feud with George was over, Yogi took like that mentor role, sat on the bench. But yeah, oversight was always good. It never hurts. It's just if players don't listen, or like you said, their skill set is just limited and they're trying too hard, sometimes it just doesn't take.
That's true. But I honestly, I think we have a better team overall than we did last year. I really think we filled in some blanks that we needed to fill in. Yeah, we lost. We lost the big guy. I like what we got right now. And Max Fried last night, that was sweet. I really liked what we saw from Max Fried last night.
And if you also look at this on one perspective, we did more post Soto than the Mets did. I mean, we after Soto decided to go to crosstown to the Queens, we signed Fried to a big deal. We
A
traded
lefty.
we traded for Bellinger, we traded for Devin Williams, and then we got Goldie on a short-term contract, a 1-year deal. But it's like we done more to strengthen our roster than the Mets. All they have, Clay Holmes, but they want to convert him to a starter. They extended Montas. They lost Sevy. Or not
Actually,
Montas, but
they have two of their starters that are on the injured list and are not going to start the season with them this year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, no, I mean, and then they had the whole drama with Pete Alonso and only signed him for what, 3-year deal or something like that.
3-year deal with opt-outs in every year. So it'll probably be a miracle if Alonso is a Met next season.
Yeah,
Because with Vlad coming out, Steve Cohen is going to go for the big dog to try to put that Judge Soto type back and forth there.
Right.
My personal feeling, the Mets were a worse team than they were last year come postseason time.
I agree.
The Braves has gotten stronger. Philly is still Philly.
Yeah.
And I think that the Braves are my personal favorites to take the NL East. And I think that the Mets are in third place in that division.
Yeah.
And then you start stacking them up, going against the American League West. Everybody, quote unquote, thinks that the Dodgers are the unbeatable team. I don't subscribe to that crap one iota. And I think that the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to freaking have the Dodgers number.
Yeah,
I agree.
the NL West is going to be a 3-team race. It's going to be the Dodgers, Padres, and Diamondbacks. And the Giants might try to fight, but they're still kind of rebuilding. But also my wild card in the NL, believe it or not, is the Reds with Tito Francona. And they've been building over the last few, and they've been getting better. They're not that laughing stock basement dwelling, team anymore.
When I was a kid, my dad was stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, and for a birthday present, he took me to Riverfront Stadium for a World Series game when the Yankees and the Reds were locking up, bicentennial year, and didn't work out too good for the Yankees. We got swept, but the years that I lived in Ohio, Cincinnati was very impressive. The big machine lives on today, and with a manager like Francona, who is a baseball pedigree, he knows the game and knows how to coach and build young players. Hell, the Guardians are a shining example of what they are today of what he started.
Look what he did look what he did with Boston,
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that team.
I know. It's bad blood, but but still, it was kind of like this guy has a resume that wherever he goes, when he's in a managerial role, he improves the team so much.
True.
And players just play for him, and they love playing for him.
All right, we have Sunil hopping in here, and I'm going to bring him up. Welcome, Sunil.
Hey.
What's going on, guys?
But yeah,
We're talking about positives from spring training that we've seen.
Yeah.
Any input?
Yeah, just a minute. I had double noise going on. One's from YouTube, one from StreamYard. So I was just killing one of them.
Wow. Okay.
I like what
Can you
I
hear me?
yeah,
see
yeah.
from
We can hear
spring
you.
training. I
Okay.
do. I like what I'm seeing. I think this is a better team than last year, to be honest with you. And call me crazy, but I think we have a good team this year. And Max Fried last night, some of those pitches he was throwing, I was like, wow. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
What's your take, Sunil? I think we lost him.
Are you there, Sunil?
So Neil, you there?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, on my end, the video cameras are going in and out for everybody. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened. But whenever I used to get on the phone, it was fine. You know, I tried it once on the weekend. For some reason, StreamYard is just glitchy on my laptop.
yeah.
Same internet on both.
It's kind of doing
Close
that.
your other window. If you have another window open, close that one and just focus on this one, and it'll stop like double doing stuff on you.
Yeah. Give me a minute. I just did that.
But yeah,
Well, we can hear your audio and you're fluid. You're not choppy or anything right now.
yeah.
All right, I killed the other one. Is it better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Neil, what do you think about so far the spring training?
2 words: cautious optimism. Because it seems to be the Yankee mantra year over year when it comes to the injury. The one thing Cashman and Hal never seem to amaze me at doing is adding age and injury prone players. This year we've added age because, of course, you know, you can't really, it's an unfair comparison when you look at the stats that Soto put up last year with the WAR, this, that, other. The only detriment he had was, you know, occasional subpar defense. So if we're comparing against that, yeah, we have a better defensive team. But when everybody's available, case
Yeah.
in point, look at our 2 lefties in the starting rotation for Don and Freed, added over the last 3 to 4 seasons. Freed last year and Rodon 3 seasons ago. Each one of these is 32, getting on to 33,
Yeah.
age-wise.
I want to give a shout out to a few folks that have jumped in. Cold Italian Pizza, welcome. Thank you for the
In the
support.
outfield, we lost
And
the 20, and we replaced them with a 29-year-old Bellinger.
Yeah.
I like Bellinger.
I mean,
What was he 2 for 3
yeah, I like
last
him
night?
too. Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm,
and
I'm not
Bill.
knocking any of these guys. I'm just saying, like, you know, the age on this roster has gone up. Now we've got Goldschmidt at first base. That's sort of a push against Rizzo because I think they're both about the same age, or maybe Goldschmidt might be a year or 2 younger.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure exactly.
Goldie right now is still healthy. I mean, what derailed Rizzo so fast was the concussion and the misdiagnosis
Yeah,
and then playing through it,
yeah.
and
I
then
mean, when you shove your face in, when you shove your face into a butthole that resembles the strength of Fort Knox, what are you going to expect?
Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's not like Goldie is. I mean, Goldie's only 2 years removed from his NL MVP.
Very true.
He got it the same year Judge hit
All
62,
right.
63. Yeah. So
And if he brings up the point, why are we talking
So
about
NFE made a
Bellinger?
comment in the chat, which I'm just going to quickly address. We're not talking about them being close to 40. We're just saying we've added age compared to where we were last year.
but we
Goldschmidt
but
is
we also
older, but
added
then
you.
if you remember, we added along the line of what NFE. If you remember how we added players in the past, like Matt Holliday and Troy Tulowitzki, how did those careers really end up with the Yankees? How did those players end up? They didn't really stay for too long
Well,
because they
Troy
were injury
didn't
prone.
see the field outside of spring training. Troy
I'm just
Tulowitzki.
hoping the same doesn't hold true with Goldschmidt. I'm just praying for that. That's all.
I agree with you.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have been like 2014 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
But
But I mean,
you
we've
also have pivots if Goldschmidt gets injured. Although Goldschmidt is averaging 155 games a season, so he's not really injury prone. But you've got the kid Dom Smith, who is a first baseman.
Yeah, but to NFE's point,
is looking like he's going to be the front runner to take Stanton's spot. You have Bellinger, who is another guy who can play first base. If DJ was actually on the roster, he was another guy who could play first base. Oswaldo Cabrera can play first base. So there are like 5 people who can play first base.
And Ben Rice.
Yep, you got better race.
If you want to bring him up from AAA, if you need to. But yeah, and then the other thing is too, we've actually added youth. We brought up the kids. Dominguez, he's what, 23? And then Peraza's still what, like 20, 23, 24. So we actually got a balance. Like back in 2014, 2015, it was like almost all the players were all above 30. You know? So I mean, aside from a couple prospects that came, Andujar and others in 2016 that came up, it was like a retirement home, or a retirement team.
Hey fellas, I'm sorry that I haven't acknowledged everybody. I see Brad typing in. Thanks, Brad, for coming on board. Appreciate your support. This is the first live stream, and there are hiccups.
Yeah.
It'll get better once I figure the routine and some of the methodologies out. But right now, in about 50 minutes, and I don't want to go past an hour. So
Yeah.
I'd like for everybody to give me your last thoughts, and then we're gonna close this one out.
I was impressed last night. I was very impressed. I think that we as a team, that was very awesome to watch last night.
Yeah. I've been impressed with the whole spring training, aside from the injuries and the big injuries to Hill and Big G. Like we, the whole team's playing together as a team. Everybody stepping up, and it's more situational hitting, which is one of the things I wanted to see was back to fundamentals and situational hitting. Um, but yeah, so far they've been impressing.
Neil?
Yeah, I mean, see, I'm not. I'm just hoping that this team's injury history doesn't become a sustainable curse. Uh, Regardless of age. I mean, we've seen Judge go down to a freak toe injury when we're playing those games in LA. Are we playing in LA this year, or do Dodgers come to the Yankees? I haven't looked at the schedule. I'm just
I
hoping
think
for those 3 games. If it's in Dodger Stadium, I'm just hoping Boone does not put Judge in right field.
Tell tell Judge don't run through the wall.
Exactly. You are neither Bill Bixby nor Lou Ferrigno. You are none of the Incredible Hulk characters. Do not try to run through walls.
Timothy has made a comment and has a very solid point.
Shit, we're playing in
Boone
LA, so
doesn't
then
have
don't put Judge in right field.
Don't put Judge in right field.
You gonna put him in center
Yeah,
for
put
those
him in
3 games?
center or left. Yeah,
Or
I
have him
do
DH?
not want him. I do not want him running through those gates. Or they better put a solid mandate to fix those goddamn gates in right field.
True that. True that.
To that.
Yeah,
Don?
because if that doesn't happen, it's 2023 all over again. Minus NFT's Fantastic Four of Frankie Cordero, Jake Bowers, Ben Calhoun, and
Don't
Aaron
forget Skinny
Preparation
McKinney.
Hicks.
Don't forget
Well,
Skinny
yeah,
Billy
all right.
McKinney.
So it's basically the Fabulous Five then, really.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I
I
included
think
Aaron Hicks in there too.
I think Hicks gave up long before he was forced to retire. Because he went downhill after that second whatever that TJS, and he just didn't have that same arm strength, and then he was quitting on fly balls left and right. Didn't matter. But the but my
He was an honorary member of LFP.
well, yeah, my thing is and they keep it up. I mean, we've improved defense, which was
Yeah,
Cashman's big thing for the offseason, was to improve all around defense, and we've done that. We just got to keep it up and have better backups in place than what we did in 2023 when we had amateurs.
I agree.
A lot of the fans have been
I
stressing
hope what
about
Brad is saying
signing,
here is fact that I'll be reprieved.
have been stressing about bringing in other players with the injuries to Stanton, the instability, what presents itself at third base, about this not being a complete offseason for the Yankees. From what I've seen in spring training, the rotation looks fantastic, and we will definitely survive without Heel. There are plenty of arms that can take his spot and maybe have the same opportunity to perform like he did last year. I think that Oswald Peraza, hands down, has got third base locked up. His glove is second to none. He has been spectacular in the field, and he's actually hitting the ball. Last night's game wasn't spectacular. He had a couple strikeouts, but he did hit a hard line drive. So as long as he's making solid contact, I don't see an issue.
Yeah.
The DH position, you've got several players that can fill in. I think the front runner is probably Dominic Smith. I like that I've seen the Yankees starting to run more. They're using their speed element. Situational hitting this spring has been fantastic.
I agree. Yeah.
Last night I saw, a runner at second base, and I knew he was going to get moved to third at least. He wasn't just going to be set there on a crap out, so a pop out to the infield or a strikeout. And he got moved to third and ended up scoring. We've scored a lot of runs situationally, and we've hit some big home runs. I mean, Lombard Jr. last night hit this towering shot.
Yeah,
And,
that was nice.
Yeah.
the kids playing A ball and looking this good. I don't see him being held down in the minors.
I
Maybe
see
a
him
couple
jumping up
seasons.
to double A or triple A.
Yeah, he was in high A last year, and I think he'll at least start the season at double A with a possible promotion to triple A.
Yeah. But you know and I want to counter that
So you
with the idea of let's bring in someone from the outside. Well, what options do we have? I mean, Verdugo and JD Martinez are both washed. And I mean, do you want to look for what other teams scrap buying? They might just be minor leaguers or quadruple A players. Um, might be a down, but I mean, we got people stepping up in our organization. Dom Smith and Peraza stepping up. And you got other Ben Rice is showing improvement after the flash and pan, and he had last year. But it's I think we can go with what we got and just kind of patch and play till Stanton comes back, until Hill comes back. We got enough depth pitching wise where we're okay. We don't have enough depth on the bench, so I mean that's where we focus on if we
Brad
were to
makes a
go
great
outside.
Brad makes a great point. Yankees offseason wasn't full of shiny toys. The acquisitions were strategically picked. Infield defense will be better, more contact in the lineup, and we'll see what the farm has to offer in the future. Great points, and definitely agree.
But yeah, no, and that's the perfect point. I mean, the only thing I would, like we were talking earlier, to go outside. The only position I'd go outside for is backup catcher, because we need a veteran that can help mentor Wells in his second year, and he can be serviceable when he does play the 1 or 2 games that Wells sits. I'm not.
All right, fellas, I want to thank you for coming on the open panel. I'm going to drop you down, give a couple of last thoughts, and shut this one down. But thank you, Sean, CT, Sunil. Appreciate your input and your support on the stream.
Ken, you rock, man. I love listening to you. You have very good insight on the game. I love it.
Thank you. They call that old man knowledge.
Wisdom here.
So basically, I'll just drop with this. I mean, we see Lombard as a future arrival in maybe late 26, early 27, as NFE is putting it right here. So if Peraza makes the team right now, and Cabrera has his value as a utility guy, so how would we reshuffle the infield potentially? Would that mean like Chisholm is expendable, moving Volpe to second, keeping Peraza at short, and bringing up Lombard for third, making an overall younger infield?
Well, I mean, one of these Chisholm is I think he's got 1 or 2 more years left on his contract or something like that. So he'll be a free agent when Lombard's ready.
Yeah.
And then Peraza and Cabrera, they can be tradable pieces at any point. Or it gives a couple of years for Peraza to really keep it, make his keep. But yeah, I mean, I'm just excited that we got a team and we got a farm system and we're actually using our prospect, not yo-yoing them around.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say Peraza's gone in the next year or two. it really would depend on his performance, over the next year or two at the big club.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that 2027 it'll kind of work itself out. That's a problem that will work itself out.
Yeah, so maybe you put
Yeah.
Peraz at second, basically Volpe at short, and put Lombard at third.
That's a discussion for a different day. I'm going to go ahead and drop you down, Sunil. Thank you for your participation.
Okay. Mhm.
Sean, I'm going to drop you down and give my last second thoughts.
No, keep up the work. Congrats on this channel, Ken. You rock. You're always knowledgeable. Like you said, you got all that wisdom, Harris, and wisdom. So keep going, and thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. All right, closing out the show, I want to thank all the people that have hopped in on the live stream and been in the studio. I appreciate y'all's support. NFE, Max Coverage TV, Jason from 161 River Ave, the Ace, some of the folks from Pinstripe Chronicles inspired me to start this channel, and I want to give everyone a shout out because I appreciate the support that everyone has shown. I appreciate the support that y'all have shown by watching the short videos and whatnot. I am looking at probably running live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays for about an hour or so, right around ballpark 10 or so. So make sure that if you like the content, that you subscribe, hit your notifications, and feel free to make comments. I'll try the best that I can to answer or respond to any comments that are out there. But like I said, thank you. Most appreciated. And we'll see you at the ballpark. Have a great day, and let's go Yankees.